I'm John Cahill and I'm the General Secretary of the Public Service Association of New South Wales. All of you will have heard by now about the unbelievable events that occurred at Cessnock Jail last night. I've just been down here to Parliament House to do a press conference to let the media know exactly what the PSA thinks of those events and thinks about the government's proposal to privatise two of our public jails. This was done in the dead of night, and it reminds me of the waterfront dispute in the late 90s, where people came in unannounced in the middle of the night to take people's work away from them. That's precisely what has happened here. Now, this is all part of a campaign to prepare Cessnock Jail and indeed Parklea Jail for privatisation. The PSA and the government and the Department of Corrective Services have been in dispute for some time about this, and to take this step in the dead of night is completely provocative. You also have to feel for the inmates who are roused in the dead of night to told to pack a small bag of personal belongings and come with me into the back of the truck. You can imagine the fears those inmates would have had. The paperwork wasn't done as it's supposed to be. The paperwork is still being done now as we speak, and Cessnock Jail remains in a state of lockdown. When PSA members arrived for work this morning, they were locked out of the jail. They were told they couldn't enter their workplaces and do their job. After a stop work meeting, they were eventually allowed back into the jail. This situation is an absolute disgrace. It is against Labor Party policy to privatise prisons, and that the PSA completely opposes it. We call on all Labor Party members, real Labor Party members, to have this decision reversed in the caucus. No one in the Labor Party is allowed to not abide by Labor Party policy. Labor Party policy is jails should not be privatised, and we call on every Labor Party member of Parliament to abide by the party's policy and reverse this ridiculous decision. The other point to be made is that clearly management of the Department of Corrective Services cannot manage. You only have to read the testimony given by Commissioner Ron Woodham to the Upper House inquiry, which, by the way, isn't yet finished, and that's an inquiry into whether these jails should be privatised. But you only have to read the Commissioner's testimony to that inquiry, where he says he cannot manage the jails, so therefore they must be privatised. We say, well, if he can't manage the jails, get someone in who can. It's definitely a union-busting exercise. Ron Woodham, again, in the parliamentary inquiry, you haven't got to listen to what I say about it, you can read in Ron Woodham's own words. He doesn't like the union, he doesn't like his own staff, he doesn't like people who are members of the union, and this is just purely a union-busting exercise due to the failure of management to be able to properly manage their jails. Cessnock is a community under attack in general. They've already had the Pacific Brands factory announce it's going to close. If another 200 or so people at Cessnock Jail lose their jobs, that'll have a devastating effect on the economy of Cessnock. So people are very, very angry about this. It's enough to destroy their lives. The PSA will continue its campaign against the privatisation of Cessnock Jail, of Parklea Jail, or of any other jail in the public prison system in New South Wales. I urge everyone to come along to the rally on the 2nd of April outside Parliament House and let the government know exactly what you think of these ridiculous proposals to privatise public jails. Members at all locations and all sites will be kept informed of the progress of the campaign.